So let me ask you this. So break it down for us exactly what Visit Albany does. For those who may not know, they see the marketing, but break it down so everyone understands.
The way that I like to describe it in very simple terms is that we are the official marketing arm for the city.
Welcome to another episode of Live the Grace Life. I'm your host, Corey Holman, and we have a guest today, Miss Kasey Summerville. She is the CEO of Visit Albany. She's been in destination marketing for over 10 years. She's an author of 2 books. We're going to get into that. She's a public speaker and a Toastmaster. Mm-hmm. So please help me welcome Miss Kasey Summerville.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, welcome to Albany.
Yes. It's been awesome.
Good.
Yeah, I'm almost 5 months in now.
5 months?
Yeah, the first, it'll be 5 months.
Wow.
It's been fast.
That is fast.
Yes.
I don't know why I was thinking the first of the year, but life goes fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how is Albany?
Albany has been good to me.
Okay.
The people have been very welcoming, very warm. I feel really comfortable here. And that was important, to know that I was going to move 9.5 hours away from home. I wanted to make sure it was a place that I was going to feel like it was home. And so even when I came for the interview, I just rode around, just kind of seeing, I rented a car, just kind of seeing how I felt here. And I felt like, okay, this is a place I can see myself. Wow. Yeah.
I think that's important, especially because I've been in Albany my whole life, right?
Yeah.
And so having an outside perspective of people saying, this feels like home.
Yes.
That's important.
It is.
So how did you find community quickly here?
I did.
You did?
I'm a lifelong AME. So before I came, I reached out to the bishop, who just happened to be my bishop for the last 8 years and had recently been assigned to Georgia.
Oh, wow.
So he had been over Arkansas and Oklahoma, and I had relationships with him and his wife because in the destination marketing field, I got to work with different meetings, and they hosted meetings there in Little Rock. And I called him, and he said, "Oh, we have an AME church there. I want to connect you." And so that was kind of my first meeting, was the pastor there, and I went for the first time, and I've been every Sunday almost that I've been in town. I felt really at home there. So
I saw you were speaking recently. Were you speaking?
Did.
Or?
Well, I did a moment in Black History on Sunday. They asked me to participate in that, and that was awesome. Yeah. So that was kind of my first time speaking there at that church. Wow. But yeah, so I have found community through that church, but then beyond that, just the being intentional about getting out in the community, going to different events, and being invited to speak at different events. I've met different people who have, got my cell phone number, had coffee with me, just getting, calling me saying, hey, they wanted to meet me, and that has been so encouraging for me, being new to a city and not knowing a soul. Mm-hmm. I didn't know anybody. I met the board during the interview, but beyond that, I didn't know anyone. So now, I'm getting to know people, building friendships, and I love it.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right, Albany, good job. We made Miss Kasey feel welcome.
Yes, yes.
So let me ask you this. So we're going to get this interview started. Yeah. So what led you to become the CEO? Now, I know that's a loaded question.
It is.
But what led you to be the CEO of Visit Albany?
I have to say God.
Okay.
And my experience has prepared me for this role. Mm-hmm. I've spent my life working, whether that's through public service as an elected official for almost 15 years.
Okay.
And then I left that and started at the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau. And while at the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau, I had the privilege of working across 3 departments. So starting in the sales department. Now, mind you, I didn't have any experience in hospitality and tourism, but I'd say they no direct experience. But they hired me, and I started in the sales department. And after 20 months, they tapped me to run their tax department. So at that particular DMO, we collected our own tax. And I had a background as a tax assessor. So they said, with your experience, we think that you would be great in this role. And so after consideration, I accepted that role and moved into the senior director for tax revenue. And then after 2-3 years in that role, they promoted me to VP of marketing. And in that role, I oversaw the communications, marketing, and community engagement departments, and then that led me to my career trajectory took me to this role, and I feel like all of that has prepared me for this role. And having the ability to see, the different departments, I think has been very, very instrumental for me here at Visit Albany with such a small staff. I do touch it all. And I'm very hands-on with the day-to-day. And so having that previous experience has really helped me.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, let me ask you this. So what excites you most about the opportunities for Albany?
I think one of the things that I really got excited about when I began to research to prepare for the interview is the movement. And then I read that your slogan was "Feel the Movement." And it is literally moving when you look at the developments, when I looked at the investments that the city was making and the new hotels that were coming here. When you're going to relocate somewhere, you want to make sure you're going somewhere that is moving. So that was important to me. I wanted to make sure that there was opportunity here for me to plug in and to join in with that movement. And then I wanted to figure out what role could I play at Visit Albany and joining with what all the city had going on. So that was really important to me and something that we were able to talk about during the interview process, because that was important to them too, bringing in someone who could plug in to the things that were going on. I've been to the St. Nicholas Hotel and met the owner and did a preliminary tour, and just the possibilities of being able to continue to market that the new hotels that are coming, as well as the already existing hotels, because we're partners with them, and having hotels is a big part of what we do. So I was excited to know that there was growth happening in that area, because I could see where as we try to market the city to bring in meetings, to bring in groups, that we had the space, we had the beds for them. So that was big for me as well. So a city that was moving, and then how could I plug into that with the experience that I had? And so I hope that answered the question.
Oh, you're good.
Kind of went around the world, but
Feel the movement. Yes, that's for those that don't know, that is the slogan for Visit Albany. Feel the movement. And so Ms. Kasey, like she said, she joined 5 months ago.
Yeah.
And so Albany, we got something to be excited about.
Yes.
There's a lot of potential.
It is.
There's a lot of growth that's happening.
Yes.
So as an outside person looking in, like you kind of said, you see the movement, but what are some of your key priorities for Visit Albany in the coming year?
Yeah, so one of the things that I've been doing is listening. So I knew the very first thing I wanted to do was do like a listening tour. I wanted to hear what the locals were saying about beyond Albany, but I wanted to hear what they were saying about Visit Albany, the structure, the organization. Did they know who we were? Do they know what we do? Yeah. And so I was on a listening tour, and still am, and I reached out to different individuals and set up appointments and said, hey, what would you like to see happening here in Albany from a tourism perspective? How do we get people to come here? So the listening tour has been very important to me to find out what the locals here, what they want to see. And one of the things that I have heard a few times is they wanted to see our presence. They wanted to see us in the community. They want to see us actually doing things within the community. And so, one of the things that I've had to explain to them is, yes, there is an obligation for us to do things in the community. And I am community conscious. But we also have to make sure that we are recruiting people to come here. So that is one of our primary responsibilities, is to get people to bring their meetings here, to bring their groups here, because when we look at the local economy, we know that that is a way to boost the local economy, is to bring people into the destination, to get them to book their hotel rooms, to get them moving around within the city, to going into our local businesses and spending their dollars there. So helping the community understand what our purpose is and what our mission is really, really important, because how the locals appreciate this city translates when people come here. So I call it building local ambassadors. I need Corey to be an ambassador for Albany, to talk about the positive things, to not talk about negative things, because that is not healthy. And so being out in the community has been really important. And I think one of the goals that I have is to continue to build local ambassadors, to continue to talk about what we do, and to get people to join us in our efforts to talk positively about this city, so that we can get groups, meetings, even the leisure travelers to come here.
I agree.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, for those I work in marketing, it is so important what she's saying. And I think Albany has, in general, we as a people have to do better about championing what's good.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And champion it online. Champion it, because there's a saying that says, basically, a plane that lands safely, you don't hear about it. But as soon as something happens, it's everywhere. And so one of the things that we have to do as a community is champion what's good. Yes. Champion what, like, for instance, there's a lot of happening downtown. There's a lot of things, businesses that are doing phenomenal work.
Yes.
Let's champion these people, right?
Yes.
And here's the thing people don't realize, because what you're saying is so true. People are watching.
Yes.
And people are listening.
Yes.
And they're determining, even when they're writing articles about Albany, based on what they're seeing on social media.
Yes, that's so important. And if anyone follows me on social media, you will see me trying to shine those lights on those things that I found, as I'm out in the community, restaurants that I found, different events that I attend. I share that. And I share it so much so that my friends, my big Arkansas audience, are like, I want to come to Albany, because of the way that I am sharing with them how I'm enjoying it. It makes other people want to come. And so that's what we have to do. We have to continue to talk to the people who are native to Albany that are out in the community, to get them to share and to talk positively about it, because it will definitely help us in what we do and what you do as a marketer, to get people to come here. Beyond that, it's very important that we connect with locals who are connected regionally and nationally. So I'm intentional about trying to identify people who serve on boards with Greek organizations, with church groups, because when we can get to them and talk to them and maybe even present with them. I've done that in the past as to why they should bring their group to Albany. That it starts there. So it's a lot of people here in Albany that I have found that are connected to different organizations. And I've even heard from some of them who said, one of their groups wanted to come here, but they didn't have enough hotel space, or they didn't have convention center space to hold that particular group. So maybe we couldn't get a national meeting, but maybe we can get a regional meeting. Maybe we can get a state meeting here. So continuing to build those relationships are so important, and that's what I'm on a mission to do. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So break it down for us exactly what Visit Albany does. For those who may not know, they see the promotion, the videos, the marketing, but break it down so everyone understands.
The way that I like to describe it in very simple terms is that we are the official marketing arm for the city. Yeah. And we are marketing to the leisure traveler as well as groups, meetings, and events. So we are being strategic in how we're marketing and who we're marketing to in an effort to get them to come into this city. So that's a simple way of explaining it. But beyond that, I always like to talk about our responsibility to engage our local community. So that's why you'll see us hosting events, because we know that we want to be engaging with our local community, and there is a level of responsibility for us to do so. And so beyond bringing people into the city, we have an obligation to get the individuals that are in the city moving around within the city. So that's why we do our weekly newsletter, letting people know what's going on in the city of Albany. It goes out every Wednesday, the top events of the week, where people who are looking for things to do over the weekend, here's some things right here locally that you can do. You don't have to drive outside of the city. So there is a level of responsibility that we take in moving the people around here, as well as trying to get people to come here.
So let me ask you this, because that's really good what you just explained there, is you're looking at the riverfront. You're looking at all of these attractions. What are some things, if you could envision, like in a perfect world? I'm a visionary, so I love being around visionaries.
Yes.
So if you were to envision how to transform that space, what are some things that you would love to bring or see happen there?
I think, let me talk about this. We just did a big photo shoot with our ad agency.
Okay.
And I was very intentional about the things that we captured in this photo shoot. We worked with our ad agency that we contract with. They brought a photographer in, and one of the things that I wanted them to capture was that riverfront. And I wanted us to capture it in a little bit of a different way than just going out, taking pictures. It's beautiful, but what are some of the things you can do while you're here? So we had a family having a picnic there in the space where it's clean, the green space. We had the Freedom Singers singing down on the riverfront, capturing them in the photos, and then as well as videos of them singing. We had a gentleman out with his kayak, going down the river. We've seen that before, but I wanted it to make sure that we had the marketing materials that we needed in order to promote the city of the things that you can do down on the river. So yes, you can walk along the trails, so you can run, you can bike, you can rent a bike at the Welcome Center and go ride it down on the riverfront. So there's already things that you can do, but there are also things that I think we can, there's opportunity there for us to do some activations if someone wanted to invest in putting some things down there. And we've had some conversations on the city level about some different things that they're doing in other cities. So there are conversations around some different things that we can do along that river. But I think talking about it more is a great start.
Yeah. I agree. I think for me, it's sometimes we just need ideas. We need like the vision cast a little bit.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. I went by myself on this one. I went to Savannah. And Savannah is one of my favorite cities. Let me just say that. They have a lot of things to offer, right? But we did like this bike tour. And so one of my favorite things is bike riding, has always been.
Okay.
Columbus has a good spot too. But anyway, we were there and the gentleman gave us a tour of the city. And he explained we would ride through the city and he would explain different parts of Savannah. It was almost like a history lesson, and I love history too.
Yes.
And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I said, "Now I don't have time to do this, but I'm casting this vision for somebody." Is bringing something like that to downtown. I think that would be a great attraction to people riding a bike, but learning the history of, and we have a lot of history. We have a lot of things that we can be proud of sharing, right? And so that was just something I saw, and I was like, Albany could really, I would enjoy it. As a good spring day, fall day.
Yes.
You know, and that may be something you all could do too.
Yes.
And I don't know how it all works, or contract someone locally to do the tours. I don't who, you know, these are just ideas. But I saw that and I really enjoyed it.
Imagine turning your business into a brand people can't stop talking about. Marketing that matters. The Entrepreneur's Guide to Growth and Success by Corey Holman. It's your blueprint for building unstoppable momentum. This book is packed with innovative ideas, action steps, and game-changing insights that you can use right now. Are you ready to disrupt your industry? Don't wait. Grab your copy now on Amazon and start dominating your market today.
And that's something that can happen. I know when I was at the previous CVB, when we would bring groups in, we would connect them with tour guides, and we had a trolley, and so we would work with the trolley, and they could get on the trolley, and it would take them, and they would have someone that would talk them through, or they had a pre-recorded thing that you could listen to as you were traveling on the trolley. So yeah, I think a lot of times going to different cities is so important, because you can see some of the other things that are working in other cities, and seeing if that's something that can work in your destination. Some things can, some things can't.
Exactly.
But I always value getting outside and exploring other destinations. And that's another thing. I had never been to Tallahassee before, and realizing how close it was. So I took a Saturday and I just went down there and was exploring there. And I went to Bainbridge, just exploring there. They had a music festival. And so I'm one of those that I love to go and see what's going on in other places. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we do the same every weekend when we have it. If I'm not working,
Yes.
we're not in Albany, unfortunately, but I'm usually either Thomasville, Tallahassee, Destin, because that's about 3 hours, or one of those. Usually hour and a half. Warner Robins, Columbus for sure. We spend a lot of time in Columbus. But these are just spaces. Now, I don't want to see y'all there now.
No, we want you to stay in Albany. No. Spend your money in Albany.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I'm sorry. Look, we promote tourism. I'm over here talking about the cities.
But, we want to position ourselves to be one of those cities that people, want to include on their list of places they can go and spend the night or spend the day here. I mean, we have pre-built itineraries there at the Welcome Center that we share. We share on our website. There's itineraries there, so that if you do decide to come to Albany, here are some things that we suggest that you do. So yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this. What are some unique challenges does a destination marketing organization face in a smaller city, and how do you plan to address them?
Well, funding.
That's everywhere, isn't it? That's everywhere.
Yes, funding. That's probably, with a smaller destination, there is smaller funding. And so you really have to be creative. And I think we are doing that. I have a very small team, but they're mighty. Having currently one full-time employee plus myself, and then 4 part-time employees. So with a limited staff, we have to really maximize what we can do through limited staff. And I think we do a great job of that. And there's opportunity for us to partner, to collaborate with others when we are a small team, to bring in extra resources. You'll see the recent event that we hosted. You know, we had the vision for it, but we knew that we needed some extra help in funding it, as well as, extra help having the actual event meant we needed more hands. So we partnered with the city, we partnered with the county. We had Turner Job Corps bring volunteers for us to greet guests and things like that. And so we have to get creative. So there are challenges in terms of the funding and in terms of the manpower, but I will say that we are making it work the best that we can, and we are able to collaborate and partner when we can, and I think that that's helpful.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so I'm a big proponent of partnerships and collaborations for more than that reason, but just because when you work together, you can accomplish more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think in addition to that, when people are looking at a city, they do look how well do organizations work together. And so when we're intentional about our collaboration and working together, that attracts people to a city too.
It does.
Yeah.
People want to know how well your city is getting along.
Exactly.
And people may be surprised to know that planners really do their research before they go to a city.
Absolutely.
And working on the sales side and having experience working with trade shows, working a trade show floor, meeting with planners, I have my pulse on some of the things that are very important to them when they go into a destination. You know, they will ask for, what does your leadership look like? You know, what are the demographics of your executive team? Like, I've experienced things like that because they want to make sure that it aligns with their mission when they're bringing a meeting to a city.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. And I don't think sometimes we realize
Yes.
how it's just kind of, I think to break it down for someone that's listening, it's like if you got money, right, you want to invest in something, you're not just going to invest anywhere. You're going to do the research. Just like when you're starting a business, you're doing research to ensure that the money you're putting into this is actually going to bring a good return on investment.
Exactly.
And so those are things that I don't think sometimes we think like at the higher level of how it all works. People are always saying, well, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. But we play a role as the community.
Every single person plays a role in it. And I'm going to use this. My grandmother this is an analogy that I like to use. I was raised by my grandmother from the age of 10 up. And at my grandmother's home, there was structure, there was stability, there was always a clean house, there was always food cooked. And when guests came over, her home was welcoming and it was ready to receive guests. So that is where I first learned, I think, hospitality is at my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
Even the preacher would come to our house and eat on Sundays after church. We were that house because there was always food cooked. And so just like at my grandmother's house, we want to be ready when we have guests coming.
Absolutely.
Being prepared is key. To welcoming people into our city. And then what you got at grandmama's house was a lot of love. So people felt good here. And that's what I feel here in Albany is a lot of love. And so when people come here, when they leave here, we want them to say that they got a lot of love. Yeah.
And I agree. Albany is a special place. That's why I never left. There's so many good people here.
Yes.
There are so many good things happening. And I think one of the things that Albany has to do is own their story well and champion it.
Yes.
I mean, promote the good things, push it out there, and not just one organization. I mean, as a whole, we just have to do our due diligence in making sure that we're helping you.
Yes.
Because,
I need your help.
We become ambassadors.
Yes.
And I know sometimes we don't think about it, even when may have had a bad experience at a restaurant, and all of a sudden, but here's the thing about it. I'm going to give you an example. You do that one bad review on video, 2,000 people done seen this video or liked it. They're looking at, well, maybe that's just Albany, Right. And so those things, we just got to do as a marketer, as someone who lives here, we have to do a better job as a community as championing what is good. So let me ask you this. What leadership lessons have guided you? And you kind of went into this when you talked about your grandma, but if there's somewhere else you want to go with this, what leadership lessons have guided you as you stepped into this role?
Leadership to me is love. When people ask me to define my leadership style, I always lead with that because that's the type of leader I want to be. And what I've come to understand after leading teams since 2003 is that when you lead with love, you have your some people think love means easy. No. We know as parents, those of us as parents, sometimes love means tough love. So even as a leader, sometimes we have to exhibit tough love. But I think if we lead out with that, we will go far. And that has really, I think, having that at the forefront, I think has helped me as a leader. Yeah. And when I'm having moments where I'm struggling with decision or I'm struggling with having to discipline, so to speak, then I always try to let love guide me in how I handle the situation. So
I agree. I agree with you on that. I kind of follow that same pattern too. Partly because I want to lead like Christ, and sometimes it's a little difficult depending on the situation it is. And we're human.
Yes.
And so,
yes.
And so, but I think even in that, there's a lesson to be learned of just dealing with people, of how to love people through challenging moments, and still display Christ.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I agree with you. Leading with love is one of the things that I try to implement in my leadership too.
And then I think the other thing is that remembering that there is no perfect leader. There is no perfect person. And then we have to understand that as we lead that we should show grace. And we also understand when we're being taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
And that's when that tough love comes in.
Absolutely.
And so having led teams, I've seen quite a bit. So that's part of it, and understanding and recognizing too that your human capital is your biggest and best investment. Investing in your team, whether that means that you send them for additional training or you open up opportunities for them to improve their skills. So my teams that I've led will probably say to you that I'm a coach a lot of times, and that, I'm looking for things that are maybe a little buried within them that they haven't is there, but I want to help them pull it on out. So as a leader, I think that we have an obligation to ensure that just as concerned as we are about our own growth and development, we should be just as concerned about our team's growth and development. So that's important to me. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And we can agree. I can agree with you. Well, everything you said I can agree with, but I agree with that because that's my heart too.
Yes.
Like when you're leading people, you want to make sure, because I always tell my team, you're not always going to be here. Right. This is only a path in the journey. This is a moment in the journey. And while you're here, learn and connect
Yes.
and grow as much as you can.
Yes.
Because I've lived long enough to see the pattern of how this place impacted this and led me. And just like you, what you were telling your story,
Yes.
every moment and every relationship leads to something.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that even when the interns come in, I'm like, ask
Yes.
as many questions, even if you think it's uncomfortable, ask. Here's why. This opportunity with me or with this team is only for a moment.
Yes.
But most of the interns that have left, I still have a relationship
Yes.
with. They still contact, they still follow up and tell me where they are because I tell them I love you beyond what you can do for me in this organization.
Yes.
So even when you moved on, I'll meet you at coffee. I'm going, but I love people.
Me too.
But what you said is so true. So let me ask you this. We're going to pivot a little bit.
Okay.
And then we're going to wrap this interview up
Okay.
because this has been good. So I know you've written 2 books.
Yes.
And I do want to put a spotlight on that because you're an author. That's a major thing. And I'm an author too. And I know sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to talk about that. Yeah. But let's talk just a little bit about the 2 books you wrote.
Okay.
Okay.
So I love quotes. And back in the 90s, I started saving quotes. I started whenever I would come across a quote that I liked, back then we printed everything out, and I would print it out and I had a little folder that I would put it in. And then every morning I started sending out a quote to just my friends, family, just a list of folks. And one day, one of the people that would receive the quotes every day said, you should put those in a book. And I was like, oh, I never thought about that. Now, we're talking 2007-ish. So my first book, Bridges and Footstools, is a collection of 365 quotes, one per day. So beyond that, I wrote a weekly motivator. So each week it starts out with a couple of paragraphs just to get you started. And then each day there's a quote, and then it offers journaling space for the writer to reflect. So that's my first book. Okay. And then my second book is called Reflections. And I'm a journaler too. So I like to write in a journal. I have a gratitude journal. I have a win book where I write down wins. I just believe in writing stuff down.
Absolutely.
And so the next book was a collection of my journal entries. And I found myself, I had about 100. So I took 50 of them, of what I thought was the better ones, and I put them in a book, and it's called Reflections. And it's just reflections of things that were on my mind, whatever given day. But it also came at a point in my life where I was reflecting a lot because I was going through some things in my personal life. And so that's where that came from. And that book was released in 2022. And I'm a blogger as well. So I blog, and I have a blog that I send out to people through my my personal website. I haven't blogged much lately since I've been in Albany because I've been a little busy. But they're there, and on my website where I've blogged for the last few years. And they're typically just things that are on my mind, things that aha moments. They're not specific toward one thing or another. It's just they're just a variety of things. Yeah. So
that's good. So this can be found on Amazon, or your?
It is. They are. Yeah. They're both. Well, the second one is on Amazon. The other one is on my website.
Okay. What's your
KaseySummerville.com.
Okay. Kasey Summerville. So we put that on the screen.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Anytime people write books, I think one of the things is you get an opportunity to get into their mind, right?
Yes.
Into the lessons they've learned. And most times, let's be real, in those challenging moments are when we have the most reflective, like we're able to reflect and write things down and process it.
Yes.
And then it's like, this can help someone else.
Yes.
And so, so Miss Kasey, this has been phenomenal.
Yes, thank
hearing
you so much.
more about your story,
Yes.
hearing listen, I'm excited about Visit Albany. I don't know about y'all, about what's getting ready to happen and the things that you have planned. I'm going to give you one last question. Is there any last words that you want to share with the audience?
I would just say we kind of hit on it, but just continue to support us, continue to follow us. Visit albanyga.com is our website. You can subscribe to our newsletter. We just launched our new text club. We encourage people to join our text club. We don't bombard you with text messages. We send out one per week every Thursday. And the purpose for that is to encourage people to move around events that are going on. We're notifying you of that through the text messages and through our newsletter. So continue to support our efforts, continue to follow us, continue to be ambassadors for Albany, because we need every single one of you. Talk positively about your city. Get to know the individuals that are in these spaces and places, whether that's your elected officials, your leadership. Get to know them and see, where do you fit in? What can you do to help? And because I feel like there's a place for every single one of us. Yeah.
That's good. So we have a responsibility to champion our city, to make sure that we are being good stewards of the information that's being shared, whether online, virtually, or even in person. We want to be proud of the Good Life City. And so thank you again, Ms. Kasey, for joining us. We already feel the movement happening.
Yes.
And so we invite you to go ahead and subscribe and like this video, and then see us on the next episode. Thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.